let me continue to speculate about the person I've been calling Bashuasi. Now, this person, as far as I'm concerned, called out to me that she liked me in her way. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I'm glad she did. I'm not saying I'm not, because I would never have called out to her in billions of years after things I've gone through. And maybe had I even not gone through these things, I would have never called out to her. There are lots of reasons for that. She's Japanese, and the man who raised me as my supposed father was in the war against Japan, and he didn't have to be. America has thoroughly demonized the Japanese across the years that I've been alive. I'm a baby boom generation child, post World War II, and I'd say my generation was raised to think of the Japanese as demons, demons who attacked Pearl Harbor and so on, right? And flooded America with TVs and other things, wrecking the employment situation for a lot of Americans, driving Americans out of jobs, making TVs and this kind of things because the Japanese were making them for cheaper, and people were going to buy the Japanese-made TVs and stop buying from companies like General Electric and Sylvania and the rest of them. And Americans were put out of work by the Japanese. The Japanese were thoroughly demonized while I was growing up for World War II, and then what's called unfair trade practices now. Okay? Whether they were or not, I'm saying they were demonized. So this person's Japanese, I should have nothing to do with her based on the way I was brought up. But, as it turns out, none of that is stopping me from being head over heels for the idea that she and I might get together. So none of that applies. It should, but it doesn't. Okay, so let me try to get back on track here. This person called out to me, okay? Now, if she really did call out to me, I am not seeing her. Even though I've been telling her in my way, I can't find her. And according to the laws of her country, it's illegal even to look for her. Okay? Now, maybe these laws are not followed for rich folks and famous folks. Because you see that people break these rules over in her country and get together in spite of all. But when you're me, you're not going to break those rules. You're just not going to do that. I've been trying to get these messages across to her. So, here's an example of a woman in my own experience who was going to start up a relationship with me by parking outside the place I lived and just waiting there for me to see her there and come out and say, yeah, let's be together and even get married. So these things can't happen. They do happen, and it's already happened to me. So I'm saying, this person I'm calling Bashuasi could at least do that. She could come to my house. She knows where I am, park in front of my house, and just sit there. If she really loved me as I believe she said she does, that's one of the things she could do. She's not doing that. Why not? Well, I can't explain why not. She lives in a republic. I live in a republic. I don't see why she couldn't do that. I'm not a criminal. She's not a criminal. I'm not a spy. She's not a spy. I'm just an ordinary person. She's just an ordinary person. She can't come down in front of my house, park in her car, and sit there and wait until I come out and talk to her. She can't do that. Well, a woman did that with me once. Okay, she parked right in front of my place where I was living and just sat there. And I noticed her out there, and I came and said, "What are you doing?" And she very quietly was not answering. She wanted to be with me in a relationship. Now, there's an example where that has actually happened. So, once again, I'm going to ask, at least that could happen between me and this person called Bashuasi if she's telling me the truth. My only conclusion after waiting around for something to happen between me and her, after I've tried with all my might, and even spent thousands of dollars of my family's money and time as well, at great risk to myself, to try to get in touch with her. She could at least do that, and she hasn't done it. So what am I to conclude? She could at least do that. Okay, if she's afraid to come to my door and knock, or afraid to put a letter in my mailbox, afraid to send me an email, afraid to send me a text message, afraid to call me on the phone, afraid to come to my door and knock, as I said, she could do that. She's not even doing that. So what am I to conclude? After spending more time on this than America spent in its war with Japan. Okay? America spent 3 years, 8 months, and 7 days in that war. And I've now spent more time waiting around for something to happen on her side of this thing. And I don't see it. What am I supposed to think?